All right, well, this could be called DW high. As more states legalize marijuana, there's an uptick in people driving while high. Up until now, though, there's been no way to determine if someone has recently ingested THC, but that's changing. Stephanie Gosk has an exclusive, never-before-seen look at the new marijuana breathalyzer.
Twisted metal, scattered debris, shattered lives. All the aftermath, authorities say, of driving under the influence of marijuana. As more states legalize recreational weed, law enforcement is concerned that these terrifying and deadly scenes will become all too common across the U.S.
How you guys doing tonight?
But that could change with the first ever marijuana breathalyzer, shown in this exclusive video provided to NBC News. Law enforcement testing the new breathalyzer out on the streets over Labor Day weekend.
You're positive for the marijuana being in your lungs.
Fingers crossed.
There you go.
Dr. Mike Lynn gave NBC News an exclusive first look at his patented device.
Give me a break.
For 2 minutes, you breathe into the device. 1 billion times more sensitive than an alcohol breathalyzer, much like a dog's nose, which inspired the company's name, Hound Labs. Your breath is collected in a cartridge for analysis, the process taking about 10 minutes.
It's done. I passed.
You passed. Good work.
Thank you. Thank you.
The test was correct. I wasn't actually high. But what if I were?
Warning.
It's objective data that says it's in your breath you've used recently.
Yeah.
Nearly 12,000 people drove while high in 2018. In Washington state, 12% of all traffic deaths between 2008 and 2017 involved THC-positive drivers. And fatal crashes in Vermont linked to marijuana have skyrocketed by 173% since the state decriminalized weed in 2010. Dr. Lynn, who works in the ER, was tired of seeing the grave consequences.
I mean, it's kind of common sense. We don't want our airline pilot to take a bong hit and get in the cockpit, right?
Right.
We certainly don't want people to smoke pot and get behind the wheel of a 4,000-pound vehicle.
Whether you smoke, vape, or eat marijuana, authorities can currently test for pot using blood, urine, or hair samples, where it can remain for days, if not weeks. But there's no way to know if someone recently used cannabis unless you test their breath.
That 2 to 3 hour period correlates to the peak impairment window that's been identified by the federal government and many other researchers.
In other words, the time when you're high.
The time when you're most likely to be highest.
And it could be a game changer for drug and alcohol DUI specialist Officer Justin Brannon, who invited me along his patrol route. He says he encounters impaired drivers regularly, and they're on the rise.
So there's several indicators that we look for when looking for a DUI. Driving too slow, driving too fast, not reacting properly to the roadway or the traffic conditions.
Can someone who's driving under the influence of marijuana and THC be just as dangerous on the road as someone driving under the influence of alcohol?
Absolutely. Some of my worst field sobriety tests were just marijuana only. Marijuana can impair, and it does impair.
We don't want to have any contamination within the cartridge.
This new technology isn't cheap, but the company has raised $65 million. Researchers and law enforcement think this new tool will help save lives.
Having a marijuana breathalyzer that, for the first time, can only focus on those people that have used pot in the last few hours, it transforms the ability to, in a fair way, determine who's potentially impaired and who isn't.